The deception. The void between the stars held secrets, but Captain Elena Santos knew the greatest deception was her ship itself. The HSS Phantom, a vessel that by all sensor readings appeared to be nothing more than a small diplomatic courier, drifted silently through the crimson nebula that marked the edge of Nexari space. Its quantum-masked hull absorbed ambient radiation, making it nearly invisible to conventional detection methods. Elena stood at the bridge's observation window, her cybernetic eyes adjusting to the spectacular view before her. The neural augments that covered 40% of her body weren't just for show. They represented humanity's response to finding itself in a hostile universe. Her first officer, Commander David Chen, approached with characteristic silence, his footsteps dampened by the ship's acoustic suppression field. The Nexari patrol fleet is exactly where intelligence said they would be, David reported, his voice barely above a whisper despite their privacy. Old habits died hard when you'd spent years practicing deception. 3 heavy cruisers, 2 carrier vessels, and their flagship, the Eternal Light. Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. And they still haven't detected us. No, Captain. Our quantum signature remains masked. As far as they're concerned, this sector of space is empty. The Nexari Collective had spent the last century expanding their empire through a combination of technological superiority and what they called protective integration. They would approach younger civilizations with offers of advancement and security, only to slowly strip away their independence through carefully crafted treaties and technological dependence. Those who resisted faced overwhelming force from vessels that seemed to appear from nowhere, using quantum technology that the Nexari claimed was theirs alone. Status of the quantum frequency analysis, Elena asked, though she already knew the answer. The mission had been planned down to the microsecond. Complete, David replied. Dr. Patel confirms that our assumptions were correct. Their quantum tunneling technology operates on the same principles we discovered 3 years ago. They're not as far ahead as they want everyone to believe. That was the real reason for their mission. While the Nexari believed they were the only civilization to master quantum transportation and communication, humanity had taken a different approach. Instead of focusing on massive ships that could quantum tunnel across vast distances, Earth's scientists had developed a network of smaller interconnected vessels that could share energy, information, and even consciousness across space-time. Elena touched the neural port at the base of her skull, connecting directly to the Phantom systems. Data flooded her consciousness: shield harmonics, weapon signatures, quantum wake patterns, everything they needed to confirm their suspicions about the Nexari's technological facade. Begin Phase 2, she ordered. Let's introduce ourselves. The Phantom's stealth systems powered down in a carefully choreographed sequence, making it appear as if the ship had just emerged from FTL travel. Almost immediately, the Nexari fleet's sensors detected them, and Elena watched as the massive vessels began to turn their attention toward the seemingly insignificant human ship. They're hailing us, David reported, unnecessarily. Elena could see the incoming transmission through her neural interface. Put them through. Let's give them the show they're expecting. The main view screen activated, revealing the impressive figure of Supreme Commander Vartix of the Nexari Collective. Like all Nexari, he possessed an almost crystalline appearance, his translucent skin refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. It was an evolution perfectly suited to a species that had built their empire on dazzling displays of technological superiority. Unknown vessel, you have entered protected Nexari space, Vartix announced, his tone managing to be both welcoming and threatening. Identify yourself immediately. Elena stepped forward, playing her role perfectly. This is Captain Elena Santos of the Earth Diplomatic Corps vessel Phantom. We apologize for any intrusion. We're on a peaceful mission of exploration and first contact. She watched as Vartix's crystalline features shifted, registering what he thought was surprise at encountering a new spacefaring race. Earth, we have no records of your civilization in our database. We're relatively new to faster-than-light travel, Elena explained, letting a carefully calculated measure of awe enter her voice. "When we detected your fleet's quantum signatures, we thought it would be appropriate to introduce ourselves properly." The Supreme Commander's expression shifted again, this time to what passed for a smile among his kind. "How fortunate. The Nexari Collective welcomes peaceful contact with emerging civilizations. Perhaps you would do us the honor of coming aboard to discuss potential diplomatic relations." Elena bowed slightly, hiding her satisfaction. "We would be honored, Supreme Commander." As the transmission ended, David moved closer. "They're scanning us extensively." "Let them," Elena replied. "They'll find exactly what we want them to find. A simple diplomatic vessel with basic faster-than-light capabilities. Nothing that could possibly threaten their technological superiority." The Phantom began its approach toward the eternal light, its systems transmitting carefully crafted data that painted a picture of an emerging civilization's tentative first steps into the galactic community. But beneath the deception, quantum algorithms were already at work, mapping the Nexari fleet's defensive networks and communication patterns. Elena felt the familiar pressure of the neural network activating in her mind. Across human space, thousands of other vessels linked to the quantum network stirred, waiting. The Nexari believed they were about to begin their standard procedure of technological subjugation. Instead, they were about to learn that humanity had already surpassed their greatest achievements, and had done so in complete secrecy. As the Phantom drew closer to the massive Nexari flagship, Elena allowed herself a moment of reflection. The deception they were about to undertake wasn't just about military advantage or technological superiority. It was about preventing the Nexari from doing to Earth what they had done to countless other civilizations. Sometimes, the best way to fight an empire built on illusion was to present an even greater illusion of your own. "Ready the quantum package," she sub-vocalized through her neural link. "Let's show them what real technological superiority looks like." The first move in this cosmic chess game had been made. The pieces were in position, and the Nexari had no idea they were already several moves behind. The hidden purpose. The docking sequence aboard the Eternal Light was a masterpiece of technological display. Crystalline energy fields guided the Phantom into a vast hangar bay that seemed to stretch endlessly into the depths of the Nexari flagship. Captain Elena Santos watched through both her natural and cybernetic vision as ethereal patterns of light danced across the chamber's walls, an impressive show of power meant to awe visitors. "Their quantum field density is even higher than we anticipated," Dr. Patel's voice whispered through Elena's neural link. The ship's chief scientist was monitoring everything through the Phantom's sophisticated sensor suite. "They're practically broadcasting their technological foundation to us." Elena kept her face carefully neutral as she prepared to disembark with her small delegation. Commander Chen and Dr. Patel would remain aboard, ostensibly to maintain their ship's systems. In reality, they would be conducting deep scans of the Nexari vessel's quantum architecture, while all attention was focused on the diplomatic party. Supreme Commander Vartix waited at the bottom of the Phantom's boarding ramp, flanked by an honor guard of Nexari officers. Their crystalline forms refracted the hangar's lights in mesmerizing patterns, another calculated display of their supposed superiority. "Captain Santos," Vartix greeted, his multifaceted eyes scanning her cybernetic enhancements with poorly concealed interest. "Welcome aboard the Eternal Light. I trust your journey through our quantum docking field was comfortable." Elena bowed slightly, playing her role. "Quite impressive, Supreme Commander. We've never encountered anything like it. Your technology is truly remarkable." "Yes," Vartix agreed, satisfaction evident in his tone. "The Nexari Collective has spent millennia perfecting our mastery of quantum mechanics. We would be honored to share some of our advancements with Earth, under the right diplomatic arrangements, of course." As they walked through the flagship's corridors, Elena allowed her cybernetic systems to passively scan everything around them. Each step provided new data about Nexari quantum technology, data that confirmed humanity's theories about their supposed technological advantage. "Tell me, Captain," Vartix said as they entered a vast conference chamber, its walls seemingly composed of pure light. How did your species overcome the quantum instability problem in your faster-than-light drives? Many emerging civilizations struggle with that particular challenge. It was a careful probe, designed to gauge Earth's technological level. Alina had been prepared for such questions. Actually, we're still working on that issue, she admitted, letting a hint of frustration color her voice. Our current drives can only manage short jumps, and the energy requirements are substantial. Through her neural link, she could sense the Phantom's quantum analysis systems working at full capacity. The Nexary's seemingly magical technology was revealing its secrets with each passing moment. Their quantum field manipulation was advanced, certainly, but it operated on principles that humanity had already surpassed. Perhaps we could assist with that, Vartix offered magnanimously. The collective has helped many young civilizations overcome such technological hurdles. In exchange, we ask only for peaceful cooperation and mutual defense agreements. Elena noticed how he emphasized mutual defense, the same term that had preceded the subjugation of dozens of other species. Through her neural link, she received confirmation that Dr. Patel had completed his analysis of the Nexary's quantum communication network. "That's very generous," Elena responded, taking her seat at the conference table. Earth would certainly be interested in learning more about these agreements. The next few hours were a careful dance of diplomatic proposals and technological discussions. The Nexary, convinced of their superiority, revealed more than they intended with each attempt to demonstrate their advanced capabilities. Elena played her part perfectly, expressing appropriate awe while ensuring her cybernetic systems recorded everything. "Your genetic modifications are quite sophisticated," one of the Nexary scientists observed during a break in the negotiations. "Did your species develop them independently?" "Necessity drove innovation," Elena replied truthfully. What she didn't mention was how that necessity had pushed humanity far beyond simple genetic modifications. The neural network linking her to the Phantom was just the surface of what humans had achieved. As the diplomatic session continued, Elena received a coded transmission through her neural interface. Dr. Patel had completed his analysis of the Nexary's quantum defense grid. The results confirmed everything they had suspected. The collective's supposedly impenetrable defenses operated on predictable patterns, vulnerable to the kind of distributed quantum attacks that humanity had perfected. "Supreme Commander," Elena said, rising from her seat, "I believe we have the foundation for a promising relationship between Earth and the Nexary collective. With your permission, I'd like to return to my ship to prepare a formal diplomatic proposal." Vartix's crystalline features shifted in what passed for a smile. "Of course, Captain. We look forward to a long and productive partnership with Earth." As Elena and her team made their way back to the Phantom, she allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The Nexary had no idea that they had just revealed the fundamental weaknesses in their empire's technological foundation. Their belief in their own superiority had made them careless. Back aboard the Phantom, Elena connected fully to the ship's quantum network. Across human space, thousands of vessels waited for her signal, their distributed quantum systems ready to exploit the vulnerabilities they had discovered. "Send the data package to command," she ordered. "It's time for Phase 3. The real deception was only beginning. The Nexary thought they were drawing another primitive species into their web of technological dependence. Instead, they had invited a quantum wolf into their crystalline fold, and they were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the ability to appear harmless until the perfect moment to strike. Betrayal and discovery. The first sign that something was wrong came as the Phantom prepared to depart the Eternal Light's docking bay. Elena felt the shift through her neural interface before any of the ship's conventional sensors detected it. A subtle change in the quantum field surrounding their vessel. "They're initiating a deep scan," Dr. Puddle reported, his usually calm voice tight with tension. Something must have tipped them off. Elena's cybernetic systems flared to life, processing data at superhuman speeds. Through the quantum network, she could sense the Nexary scanning beams attempting to penetrate the Phantom's carefully constructed facade. They had expected this might happen, but not so soon. Supreme Commander Vartix is hailing us, Commander Chen announced. Elena straightened in her captain's chair. Put him through. Initiate Protocol Omega. The crystalline face of the Nexari commander appeared on the main screen, his features set in hard angles that reflected barely contained rage. Captain Santos, our sensors have detected some inconsistencies in your vessel's quantum signature. I'm afraid we'll need to conduct a more thorough inspection before you depart. Elena maintained her diplomatic smile, even as her neural link coordinated with the ship's defense systems. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Supreme Commander. Our diplomatic protocols are quite strict about external inspections. This is not a request, Captain. Vartix's voice had lost all pretense of courtesy. Our scans indicate your ship possesses technological capabilities far beyond what you claimed. You will submit to inspection, or we will be forced to take more direct action. Through her neural interface, Elena could see the Nexari fleet moving to surround the Phantom. Their quantum weapons were powering up, preparing to trap her ship in a web of crystalline energy. But they still didn't understand what they were dealing with. You're right about one thing, Supreme Commander, Elena said, allowing her diplomatic mask to fall away. We haven't been entirely honest about our capabilities. Allow me to demonstrate. With a thought, she activated the Phantom's true defensive systems. The ship's quantum signature, previously disguised as primitive and weak, suddenly bloomed into its full complexity. The Nexari sensors, calibrated to detect their own level of technology, were overwhelmed by patterns they had never encountered before. Impossible, Vartix breathed, his crystalline features distorting in shock. These readings, they surpass our most advanced systems. Humanity learned long ago that true advancement doesn't come from hoarding technology. Elena explained as the Phantom systems continued to evolve faster than the Nexari could analyze them. While you were busy maintaining the illusion of superiority, we were pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The Eternal Light's weapon systems came online, its crystalline energy weapons charging with a brilliant display of power. But Elena had already anticipated this response. Through her neural link, she initiated the next phase of humanity's plan. You should know, Supreme Commander, that we've spent the last few hours mapping your entire quantum defense network. Elena's voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Your weapons, your shields, your very method of faster-than-light travel, we understand them all. And we found them wanting. As if to demonstrate her point, the Phantom suddenly split its quantum signature into multiple patterns, each one operating on a different frequency. The Nexari targeting systems, designed to track single quantum signatures, couldn't maintain a lock on the rapidly shifting signals. This is your only warning, Vartix, Elena continued. The Nexari Collective will cease its campaign of technological subjugation. You will withdraw from the territories you've conquered and restore independence to the civilizations you've enslaved. Vartix's features had shifted from shock to fury. You dare threaten the Collective? We have dominated this sector for millennia. Our fleet will reduce your single ship to atoms. Elena actually smiled at this. You still don't understand. The Phantom was never just a single ship. At that moment, across Nexari space, quantum signatures began to appear. Not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands of human vessels emerged from their hidden states. Each one had been waiting, gathering intelligence, preparing for this moment. The Nexari's quantum sensors, already strained by the Phantom's display, were overwhelmed by the sudden emergence of an entire fleet that technically shouldn't exist. How? Vartix demanded, his composure finally cracking. How did you hide such a force from our sensors? Because you never looked for it, Elena explained. You were so convinced of your technological superiority that you never considered someone might have surpassed you. Your quantum technology is impressive, but it's limited by your need to control it centrally. Humanity took a different approach. We learned to share it, to let it evolve naturally across a network of minds and machines. The human fleet began to move in perfect coordination, their quantum signatures resonating in patterns that made the Nexari's supposedly advanced systems look primitive by comparison. Each ship was connected not just through conventional communications, but through a vast quantum network that allowed them to act as a single organism. "This is impossible," Vartix whispered, watching as his mighty fleet was systematically surrounded by vessels that seemed to bend the very laws of physics. "No," Alina corrected him. "This is evolution. And it's time for the Nexari Collective to evolve as well, or be left behind." The battle that would reshape the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity had just revealed its true face to an empire that had grown far too comfortable in its perceived superiority. The network awakens. Space itself seemed to ripple as thousands of human vessels synchronized their quantum fields. The Nexari fleet, once appearing overwhelmingly powerful, now looked small and isolated against the vast network of ships that had revealed themselves. But Supreme Commander Vartix wasn't ready to admit defeat. "All vessels, execute combat pattern Sigma." His voice boomed across the command channel. The Nexari ships began to arrange themselves in their famous crystalline formation, their hulls resonating with accumulated energy as they prepared to demonstrate why they had dominated this sector for so long. Elena watched through both her neural interface and the Phantom's advanced sensors as the enemy fleet's quantum signatures aligned into what the Nexari considered their ultimate combat configuration. Under normal circumstances, it would have been an impressive display of coordinated power, but these were not normal circumstances. "Dr. Patel," Elena called through the quantum link, "initiate the quantum dissociation protocol." "Already done, Captain," the scientist replied, his consciousness flowing through the same network that connected all human ships. "The entire fleet is synchronized. We're ready to demonstrate what true quantum mastery looks like." The human fleet's response to the Nexari formation was unlike anything the crystalline aliens had ever encountered. Instead of matching their enemies' rigid patterns, the human vessels began to move in fluid, almost organic configurations. Each ship's quantum field adapted and flowed into its neighbors, creating a living web of energy that defied conventional tactical analysis. "What is this?" Vartix demanded, his voice carrying both fury and a hint of fear. "What kind of technology are you using?" "The kind that evolves," Alina responded calmly. "While you were building bigger crystals, we were learning to dance with quantum mechanics itself. Our ships don't just use quantum fields, they're part of them." As if to demonstrate her point, the human fleet's quantum network suddenly expanded, creating a vast field of interconnected energy that made the Nexari's formation look static and lifeless by comparison. The crystalline alien sensors struggled to make sense of what they were seeing. It was as if space itself had come alive. "Impossible," one of the Nexari scientists could be heard muttering over the command channel. "Their quantum coherence levels are off the charts. The energy requirements alone should be impossible." Elena finished for him. "Only if you think of each ship as an individual unit, but we're not individual units anymore. We're a network, a symphony." Through her neural link, Elena could feel the power of that symphony. Every human ship, every crew member with neural augments, every AI system, all of them connected through a quantum web that transcended normal spacetime. It was humanity's greatest achievement, not just mastering quantum technology, but becoming one with it. The Nexari fleet fired their primary weapons, crystal-focused beams of pure energy that had shattered countless civilizations' defenses. But the human fleet's quantum network simply absorbed the attack, redistributing the energy across thousands of vessels simultaneously. It was like throwing a stone into an ocean and expecting it to make a hole. "Your weapons can't hurt us," Alina explained, genuine sympathy in her voice. "Not because our shields are stronger, but because we're not where you think we are. We exist in a quantum superposition across multiple states. You're not fighting ships. You're fighting probability itself." As she spoke, the human fleet began its own attack. But instead of conventional weapons, they used precisely calculated quantum field manipulations that caused the Nexari ship's crystalline structures to vibrate at their resonant frequencies. The aliens' mighty vessels began to lose coherence, their supposedly impervious hulls becoming increasingly unstable. "Stop this," Vartix commanded, watching helplessly as his fleet's primary advantage, their crystalline technology, became their greatest weakness. "You'll destroy everything we've built." "No," Alina corrected him. "We're showing you everything you could have built if you'd chosen cooperation over domination. This is what happens when a civilization focuses on raising others up instead of keeping them down." Through the quantum network, Alina could sense the other human ships coordinating their efforts. Each vessel contributed to a growing wave of quantum disruption that threatened to shatter the very foundation of the Nexari Collective's power. But destruction wasn't their goal. "Your ship's quantum cores are about to reach critical resonance," Alina informed Vartix. "In about 30 seconds, you'll lose all power to your weapons and primary systems. You can either power down now and accept our terms, or watch your entire fleet drift helplessly in space. The choice is yours." The Nexari commander's crystalline features shifted through patterns of rage, disbelief, and finally, resignation. He had just witnessed his empire's technological supremacy crumble in the face of something far beyond their understanding. "Power down all systems," he ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. The collective surrenders. As the Nexari ships went dark one by one, their crystal-based technology dimming to dormancy, Alina felt a mixture of triumph and sadness. The human fleet's quantum network pulsed with shared emotion. They had won, but at what cost to their own humanity? Had they become something more than human, or had they simply discovered what humanity was truly capable of all along? The answer, she suspected, would define not just Earth's future, but the future of all spacefaring civilizations. The age of crystalline empires was over. The era of quantum networks had begun. Liberation's dawn. In the aftermath of the battle, the eternal light hung motionless in space, its crystalline hull dull to opacity. The once mighty flagship of the Nexari Collective now served as the site for negotiations that would reshape the galaxy. Captain Alina Santos stood in its vast conference chamber, her cybernetic systems interfacing with both her ship and the human fleet's quantum network as she faced Supreme Commander Vartix and the assembled Nexari leadership. "The terms are not negotiable," Alina stated, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's united will. "The Collective will release all subjugated civilizations. Your quantum technology will be freely shared with all spacefaring species, not used as a tool of control." Vartix's crystalline form had lost much of its luster, but his voice remained proud. "You would have us surrender everything we've built over millennia. Our empire, our achievements, our very way of life." "No," Alina corrected him, her cybernetic eyes glowing softly. "We're offering you the chance to build something greater. The quantum network humanity has created isn't just a weapon or a tool. It's a new way of existing, a path to genuine cooperation between species." Through her neural link, Alina received updates from across former Nexari space. Human ships were already assisting the liberated worlds, sharing quantum technology that would free them from their forced dependency on the Collective. But more importantly, they were sharing the principles behind it. The understanding that true advancement came through cooperation, not control. "Watch," Alina commanded, gesturing to the chamber's walls. They transformed into viewing screens, showing scenes from dozens of worlds. On each planet, the crystalline infrastructure that had kept them bound to the Nexari was being transformed. Quantum fields that had once served as chains were becoming bridges, connecting species and civilizations in ways the Collective had never imagined. "This is impossible," one of the Nexari scientists whispered, watching as their carefully controlled technology was not just shared, but improved upon by the very species they had subjugated. "The quantum harmonics alone should prevent such rapid adaptation." "Only because you designed them to," Dr. Patel's voice came through Elena's comm system. He had been coordinating the technological transition across the liberated worlds. Your artificial limitations were just that. Artificial. The underlying principles of quantum mechanics are universal. All species have the potential to understand and use them. Elena felt a surge of pride through the quantum network as reports came in from across the sector. The Meridians, one of the first species the Nexeri had conquered, were already adapting the freed technology to their unique biological quantum sensors. The Asteri, whose civilization had been reduced to dependency on Nexeri energy systems, were developing their own quantum power sources that surpassed their former masters' designs. This is the future we offer, Elena continued, addressing not just the Nexeri leadership but broadcasting to all worlds in the sector. Not dominion of one species over others, but a network of civilizations, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities to our understanding of the universe. Through her neural interface, Elena could sense the quantum network expanding, adapting, growing stronger as more species joined it. But unlike the Nexeri's rigid control, this was a voluntary connection, a sharing of knowledge and experience that enriched all participants while preserving their independence. And if we refuse? Vartix asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Then you'll be left behind, Elena stated simply. The age of empires is over, Supreme Commander. The galaxy is evolving. You can evolve with it, or watch as others surpass you completely. The chamber fell silent as the Nexeri leadership confronted their new reality. Their mighty empire, built on the illusion of technological superiority, had been undone not by force of arms, but by the simple act of sharing knowledge. There is wisdom in your words, Vartix finally admitted, his crystalline features shifting into patterns Elena's systems identified as contemplative. Perhaps it is time for the collective to live up to its name, to truly collect and share knowledge rather than hoard it. Elena smiled, feeling the quantum network pulse with possibility. That's all we ask. A chance to build something greater than any single species could achieve alone. As the formal surrender was drafted and transmitted across the sector, Elena took a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what humanity had achieved. They had defeated the Nexeri not through superior firepower or tactical brilliance, but by fundamentally changing the rules of engagement, by showing that true power came not from control, but from connection. The quantum network hummed with activity as ships from newly liberated worlds began to join the human fleet, their crews learning to interface with the shared consciousness that humanity had pioneered. Each new connection brought fresh perspectives, new ways of understanding the quantum realm that even humanity's advanced science hadn't considered. Captain, Commander Chen's voice came through her neural link. The first wave of diplomatic representatives from the freed worlds is requesting permission to board. They want to begin discussions about joining the Quantum Network Alliance. Elena nodded, both physically and through the network. Grant them access, and inform Earth that Phase 5 is complete. Operation Liberation was a success, but our real work is just beginning. As she watched representatives from dozens of species file into the chamber, each bringing their own hopes and dreams for the future, Elena realized that humanity had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had sparked a revolution in how civilizations interacted with each other and with the fabric of space-time itself. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and it would be built not on the foundation of crystals and control, but on the principles of quantum connection and cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped to achieve.